begin our next session, we are talking about our networks being our net worths. We're talking to women CEOs and how to empower and co-create results by using the power of our networks. I'm sure this is a conversation you haven't had before. So please join me in welcoming the preeminent speakers for this session. I welcome Megan Falloon. Please put your hands together for this icon of a woman, the CEO of Barefoot College International, based in India but spreading worldwide. This lady, let me introduce you to Megan Falloon. They work with rural and illiterate women in parts of Rajasthan in India and give them the know-how to turn them into solar engineers to create enlightenment and electricity in their villages. So this is a truly remarkable ladies. If I could invite the ever-lovely Yella Reber to join us on the stage. Yella, are you with us? There she is. The radiant Yella coming from New Zealand. The founder and, wait for it, CEO. Did I say it right? Have a seat, Yella. Working and supporting change makers worldwide. It's an honor to have you with us, Yella. Welcoming Asha Vodnik, the CEO of Amgen, a journalist, an editor at large, a TV host, and running a Slovenian TV station called Paprika. No coincidence, ladies and gentlemen. Welcoming our last speaker for this session, Mateja Lončar. Mateja Lončar. The CEO of Slovenia and Croatia at Siemens from Slovenia. That's what CEOs are made of. Don't stop clapping. We have powerhouses amongst us. These are the women leading us into an enlightened future. Without further ado, I'd like to call on Megan Falloon to please share her journey with us.
Good morning, namaskar. It's incredible to be here, actually. It's incredible to be here, considering I was in Davos, the World Economic Forum, a couple of weeks ago, surrounded by men in gray suits. And here I sit surrounded by my sisters, and they are like wings in a bouquet of flowers. Now today is a bit of a departure for me, because normally I'm quite used to speaking about my work, but today I want to talk about my journey and the why I do what I do, because I think the most remarkable thing about women leaders is the fact that they carry with them so much of passion and so much of our journey into our leadership. 10 years ago, I made what many people told me was a radical decision. I decided to walk away from 2 for-profit companies that I had started and to take up the work of running a not-for-profit social enterprise. In fact, one that had values of lifestyle and work style grounded in the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi, a belief in the wisdom, skills, and knowledge that the very poor already possess. Now, people told me this was risky. They were telling the wrong person that. Because all that basically made me do was want to definitely take it up with a vengeance. What they didn't realize was that I had actually spent 12 years as a high alpine climber, mountaineer, adventurer, and diver, exploring some of the world's most pristine, natural places. Risk was something I was not a stranger to. And in fact, my definition of risk had been born through one experience after another experience after another experience. And it wasn't just the fact that I was pushing my mind, my body, and my heart to embrace the people that lived in those remote places. It was also the fact that I was watching in real time the effects the climate and the destruction of our natural environment was having on the lives of those people, their communities, their livelihoods. Worse than that, I was watching women bear the brunt of that across the world, completely the same levels of difficulty, hardship, violence, and indeed destruction of their sense of self. The women who are not in this room, the women who are often not invited to the table, the ones we don't see, the 40% of the world that lives on less than $2 a day. Those are also our sisters. Now, in the course of exploring those communities and spending time with the women, I heard a lot about what were the things that they wanted and needed in order to be able to reach their aspirations. And their aspirations were not our aspirations. They were uniquely theirs. And the problem seemed to me to be that governments and corporates, and even those of us in the developed world, had failed to recognize that in fact we owed them the respect of listening to their voices. And so when I arrived to Barefoot College, my number one priority was to figure out how to include those women in absolutely every part of that journey. Now today, there are, as you so kindly introduced, there are 3,500 women solar engineers. Now, people told me it was impossible. They told me what I wanted to do was impossible. I would never be able to train women who couldn't read and write, to be able to fully fabricate, install, maintain, and sell solar home lighting systems to the furthest, most remote communities on the planet that had no access to light. Well, they were wrong, and they underestimated me, and more importantly, they underestimated them. Those women today have brought light to 1 million people in 93 countries. They have changed government policy in 11 countries to include decentralized energy solutions that are for and about women, through women in those communities. Those women today design software applications with Apple and Oracle. They have built honey businesses, coffee businesses. They've developed nutritional supplements that address anemia and the chronic problem of low birth weight in children in India and in 5 African countries. They have blown away my every expectation. Why? Because words like risk for them, words like power for them, words that have sat in a male domain for so long are words they have challenged head-on. To redefine those things in the context of their lives so that they could take up leadership in their communities, in their families, and for themselves. To give themselves the power, the validation, the respect that each one of us in this room has. Now, a friend recently wrote a book of her life, and she referred to me as a dangerous woman. And I read the chapter and got a little uncomfortable because it's sort of strange when somebody calls you dangerous. And then I started thinking about the moment we are living in right now. We are living in dangerous times. Dangerous times that sadly have largely been the result of male leadership. And I would like to see the next 20 years be hallmarked by as many women at the table as there are men. Because it is in that collaboration, in that two-way dialogue, that we achieve the greatest of things. And I actually believe we will never face the challenges that we need to in this next 25 years for people, for planet, for our economic systems that are not serving us, unless we are prepared to fearlessly embrace the risk that it will take to man up at the table. So I'll leave you with a quote that's a favorite of mine, which says that growth demands a temporary loss of security. It is time for us as women to embrace being dangerous, to be fearless in everything we do, and to stop telling ourselves that we are just one woman and we can't do very much. My women every day are an inspiration about what one woman at a time can do.
Megan, you are a radical visionary like none other. You're a light worker, and no pun intended there. Speaking of light workers, I'd like to welcome Yella, coming all the way from New Zealand and onto her world tour. Please do enlighten us with your journey.
Thank you. Wow, I just blown away by that. I'm very lucky. When I started thinking about the question that we're talking about today, how to empower and co-create results by using our network, I realized how lucky I am for many reasons. But one, because I've never had a competitor in my life. And it's funny because when you go to business school or when you go into business in any way, shape or form, it's basically the first thing you're taught. You look around, you look at who is your competition, who is doing something similar that you want to do, and basically you model your unique magic, your message to what they're doing. It's kind of strange. But then again, I'm lucky. I've never had any competitors. Not when I was climbing the corporate ladder and looking for that next job. Not when I launched my agency, and there were literally agencies popping up on every corner. And even now, when I'm building a business coaching platform in a time where every second person you meet is a coach, I have no competitors. Now you may wonder what my secret is. What is this magic ingredient that makes me immune to competition? What is that secret touch? The thing is, I'm not special. I'm not special, but what I am is unique, and so are you. And that, my friends, is all of our superpower. If you think about it, you look around, there is very little to nothing, no product, service, or idea out there currently that is unique. Everything you want to do or purchase or experience, there are hundreds, thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of options already out there. So what makes you decide to opt for one over the other? How do you discern which one of these thousands of clones are for you? Most people will tell you it is one of these two C's. It's either convenience or cost. Basically, how simple is it to get it, and what's the most affordable option? I don't buy that. I don't buy into that notion. I think what sets us apart is a whole other C word. It's the creator. It's their unique story, their mission, their vision that we buy into. In the end, people buy from people. I don't know about you, but I know that I, for one, have traveled, well, from New Zealand to Slovenia. To be at a certain event. It's not the most rational thing, it's definitely not the most convenient or cost efficient, but it's definitely the one that I felt called to because of the story of Dr. Rabin Aurora. So I think this is how we all operate. We like to buy into the story. The thing is, when we know that, when we embrace that, we realize that that becomes our unique superpower. Because when we talk about leveraging and co-creating through our network, the moment we realize we have no competitors, the moment we embrace and embody that notion of non-competition, all of a sudden our network exponentially grows because we don't have any competitors, and anyone all of a sudden is a potential ally, is an asset for your business. So look around you today, this weekend. Look around your networks on social media. Look around at all of those people who are conventionally called your competitors, the ones you're supposed to fear. And lock arms. Because the moment you realize that your uniqueness is your superpower, as theirs is their superpower, all of a sudden you know that what is yours will come to you and will resonate with you, and what is theirs will come to them. And you can freely and powerfully collaborate. So how do you actually leverage that? How do you collaborate in a powerful way? And while every situation is quite unique, I think there are a couple of golden rules that I operate by that are the key ingredients to powerful and exponentially explosive partnerships. One is to show up fully. Show up fully as yourself, as you are, because when your uniqueness becomes your superpower, don't you dare hide. You show up the way you are in all your, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all the weirdness. You show up the same way online as you do offline, the same way in the boardroom as with your friends. You just embrace all of who you are because you realize that is what makes you uniquely you. Another essential thing is to always lead with value. Lead with value when it comes to approaching potential partners. Lead with value when it comes to sharing your knowledge, sharing your gift, sharing your medicine. Realize that the game of collaboration is a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a long-term game. It's not a tit for tat. You build, you give, you grow together, and you never know how things evolve in the future. I have had the most amazing partnerships and collaborations and opportunities presented to me from people that I've met years ago in a bar or in the Uber, in the Uber or in the most strange places. So realize it's a marathon. And lastly, what is very important is set holistic ROI goals for yourself. Now, what's a holistic ROI? It is a return that goes beyond the direct financial gain. It is a return that looks at the greater scope of what it is you're trying to achieve. Look for that, and then you see the immense power and value that is hiding in your current network. So, just like me, you're all very lucky, because just like that, you gained hundreds of potential new collaborations. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yara, for helping us to tap into the call of the spirit. That's what we call the X factor, right? Like, that's the providence. And you said something so interesting. You said, share your medicine. It's beautiful. What an idea. Because we have the healing embedded in the information of the heart center. We just need to have it travel up to the head. Take that 18-inch journey from the head to the heart and back again with that information. Thank you, Yela, for taking us on that beautiful journey. Thank you. Shifting focus back to the motherland of Slovenia, I welcome Aisha Wardnik, the Chief Executive Officer of Anton, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. So many great messages already given that resonate with me that I'll probably repeat some with other words. But Marcy before brought me back to the times when I was still an entrepreneur, working in media, and it seems like a previous life. Now, for the 10 years, I'm in so-called networking business, but I don't think it should be called networking business. It's relationship building. And I recall when I was still a young professional listening to a lecturer who was talking how we should build our networks. And he said that we should look around and see in our network, do we miss, let's say, lawyers or data analysts or any profession, and then we should go and meet those people. And I thought at that time, oh my God, this is absurd. Because you need to find people as they are. It doesn't matter what titles they have. I think it's much more important that you know that every person can be the next best teacher for you. So being in this networking, saying more rightly, relationship building business, I basically developed three main principles how we should probably operate. The first one is that you need to love people, and that whatever they do, even if they disappoint you, you should find why they did it. And many times, the fear is the reason. So my father is the one who taught me, and I really think that this is sort of embedded in me. So I'll tell you the story from my business life when I decided that I'll run for the vice president of AmChams in Europe that covers 43 countries, with the reason that I wanted to bring seat of the organization to Slovenia. So some colleagues wrote to me and they said that they're sort of not sure should I do it or not, and they gave me three reasons. The first one was that I'm mother of three. The second was that I'm from the country that it's not the biggest and it's not maybe that relevant. And then I was like, at the first moment that I got that message, angry. But then when I remembered what my father taught me, I knew that they're just afraid of change. And I thought, because I'm mother of three, I'm capable of doing many things at the same time, believe me, because having three is not that easy, and ladies who are mothers, you know that. And then, of course, my country not being relevant. That's not true. It's the only country in the world with love in the name, so it's more than relevant. And you would think that love doesn't have anything to do with business. I would say it does. Because if we want to be social responsible business, and that businesses will have to be, we need to bring love into our daily life and to the daily business. The second principle there is for the networking relationship building is the greatest power is in empowering others. So I find my mission in empowering young people. And I really feel blessed that somehow, 10 years ago, I started with this young professionals program within AmChams Slovenia, and now we have more than 1,500 people already involved. But when we started, many CEOs said to me, oh no, we don't want to give you the best potentials within our companies, because then you will do the best headhunting pool, and we really don't want to lose them. But I tried to convince them, and I'm happy I did, that you should not put young people and have it for themselves. You should empower them and make them strong. Because in the further years, they will make the country stronger. And in the further years, they will make Europe and then the whole globe, because we are all interconnected, stronger. So empowering would be the second principle. And for the last, it would be optimism. The quote from the Helen Keller that we should all admire is that optimism is the faith that leads to achievements. So in everything that I do and every challenge that I pass, I try to look at it from optimistic way. Because of course we all know when you have troubles, you grow. Of course I would like to skip that growing part, but at the end I know that only that is the way that we are better. So for me, three things that matter. Love people, empower others, and be optimistic. Enjoy Slovenia.
Thank you, Aisha. You embody an exquisite style of leadership, which is of love, of trust, and being a lighthouse. So this is really exemplary what you've done as your journey. So I think it's no coincidence that I was presented your journey of your past life but that's the metamorphosis. That's exactly how we came to where we are. So thank you for sharing your journey as the CEO of AmCham. It's a privilege to have you with us. Welcoming our last speaker for this session, an honor to welcome the Chief Executive Officer of Siemens, a lady who's an expert of telecommunications in Slovenia and Croatia. Please welcome Mateja Lončar.
Good morning, everybody. I'm really pleased to have this special energy here today. I'm not used to start my working day in such an emotional manner. I work in the company that is very, very male-dominated. But I would like to say that I have also very, very good experiences. My first good experience was when I wanted to apply as a candidate for the CEO position. It was 13 years ago. It was not very common at Siemens at that time to have a woman on the CEO. There are only few in the whole world. And I had a woman, then a boss afterwards, who saw there is a female candidate, and she said, please take a look at her, give her a chance. And this is how I got the chance to become a CEO. Then there was a second thing that happened to me 2 years ago. I got an additional responsibility. Beside my CEO role here in Slovenia, I took over additional one in Croatia. It was a new market for me. I knew Croatia from my private life, but it's very different when you step on this territory as a business person. And guess what happened? I was really surprised. There were women from Croatia on the top positions that really embraced me very warmly, even if they didn't have business reasons to invite me for dinners, for lunches, talk to me, introduced me to the market. And I said, who says that women do not support each other? I think this is really a great power of this honest and very down-to-earth female networking that can help us to go forward. So this is the second thing. But the story I wanted to tell you is a little bit different. I'm coming from the industry that is really somehow influenced by different trends, and digitalization is one of the trends. And on the other hand, I'm working in the Slovenian Managers Association for years already on the topic of the female management, more women on the management positions in the country. And we see that the percentage of women on the top positions, whatever we do, stays at a rather low percentage. It's around 5% globally. It would take us 100 years to become equal with men. This is, how to break the glass ceiling is one of the challenges we are dealing with in a network of great women, and we have great successes, nice networks built, giving awards to the women who break this ceiling. On the other hand, we also inspire companies, give awards to the companies that somehow boost diversity, not only because it's fair, but also because it brings benefits to the companies and more profits. But the topic that started to irritate me was basically this huge and fast development of technologies, new technologies. And when I read the book of Klaus Schwab, the founder of the World Economic Forum, also implicating what would be the consequences of this fast, intense technological development in the world, and what would be also the consequences to the position of women, I started to be somehow concerned about what we are doing. We already now don't have a talent pool of women to take over top positions and get more power. And if we think about all these technological areas, where we even don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough women who would study engineering to step then forward and step into this area. You see the economic power is really getting stronger and stronger in the information and communication area. So we see what's going on with new trends and new developments, new technologies like artificial intelligence that will completely change the way how human beings are behaving and what would be the future of us. I think it's extremely important that we have more women in these areas, because what we want to do, we want to use technology to improve the world. We want to use technology to deal with the most difficult challenges of the world currently that are related to poverty, to healthcare, to climate issues. And for that we also need female values to be integrated into this new also artificial intelligence that can bring and has integrated biases, gender biases inside. So, since I'm a practical woman, I said, how can I influence things around me? Yeah? And I usually start to think, what can we do? Because we cannot now cry, we cannot influence always the world problems, but we can influence our environment. And what I did, I engaged my colleagues, one of them is also sitting today here, and we said, let's do something to empower and to encourage more women to step into these engineering studies, into STEM. How can we do it? How can we support it as the company? And we initiated the project that was called the Female Engineer of the Year. We started 2 years ago. We found 30 great engineers in Slovenia. We were really impressed what they are doing. They are engineers, they have PhDs, they are mothers, sports women, they are musicians, they look good. So what is the problem is that young women need role models. So we found 10 role models, we showed them to the other young ladies in Slovenia. And we are doing this now for the 2nd year, and this is something, it's a small project that started, but it's rolling on. Now these ladies are really networking among themselves. They work in automotive industry, they are electro engineers, they are pharmaceutical engineers, in genetics and everywhere, construction. And they are so happy when we showed them, they were so happy that we showed how we value their work, and we are sure that with such projects we can also encourage other young women to step into these areas and help really the technology to be the driver of the good values and the good cause. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Matea, for sharing your poignant journey of reaching the heights that you have, and so open-heartedly and generously sharing that, bringing that to us. This panel has been absolutely enlightening. We did begin with a light worker, reclaiming our riches through relationships, really capitalizing on the social capital. So we've really understood and opened up the scaffolding of what it means to value our networks that surround us. So ladies and gentlemen, look around you and tap into that power that's beside you and on either side of you. Look around you, don't be shy. There you go. Please make sure, this is an exercise that we often do, please make sure before we leave, when we break for our next session, whenever we do, please make sure you're connecting, because that is the breath that connects us. Not just the business cards, but connect with the spirit, connect with the heart, connect with the sisters and the brothers, because this is the only reason we are here in this beautiful country on this beautiful moment today. Thank you for your attention, and ladies, this is for you. For the exemplary journey and for your loving sharing. Women supporting women. Yes, let's do that.